check, 1, 2, it's the motherfucking Burnell Washburn podcast. Introducing the star, Burnell Washburn. Yo, peace and richest blessings. I hope you're having an incredible day. Sending you good vibes wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of the Burnell Washburn podcast. I'm still just incredibly stoked that this is actually a real thing out on iTunes. Shout out to all my day one listeners who got the first episode. Big thank you to everyone who left me a 5-star review. That helps spread the message so much. So I really appreciate you guys. I love how you guys have been sharing it on your stories and sending me messages saying that you listened to the whole episode and it provided some value or re-sparked something in you. So that's really the intention of this podcast, is to share actionable insights that you can take into your daily life to help you live a more empowered, more fulfilling lifestyle. So I'm just obsessed with sharing anything I can, tools, techniques, mindsets, habits, ideas, etc. Anything that can help us live a happier, more fulfilled, amazing life. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. Today's going to be a little bit of a quicker episode, I think. I wanted to just provide some quick value and share just a little something that's been on my mind that I think is going to help a lot of you out. So I see a lot of people hesitating, procrastinating, wanting to chase their dreams, but they have a lot of excuses or a lot of things holding them back, or they feel like they're blocked somehow, or something's kind of in the way of them doing what they really want to do in their life. So I wanted to talk about how I've been able to implement some new, really positive habits in my life, and how I've done that by starting small. And the cool thing about building habits is when you build them, you get a muscle for building habits themselves, so then like other habits become easier to build. And I'm a strong believer in adding good habits and continuously adding good habits that continuously improve to kind of drown out the bad habits, rather than taking kind of like society's normal approach, which is to focus on eliminating bad habits. I feel like when we're focusing on eliminating bad habits, we're putting all of our attention on what's wrong rather than on the solution. So I'm more of a fan of adding so many good habits that the bad habits start disappearing. And when it comes to anything new in our life that we're scared to take action on, or that we're hesitating or procrastinating on, or we're just overthinking, it's all about starting small and just making it really simple at the beginning. So for example, I started out building the habit of exercise and going to the gym and taking care of my health by the simplest ways. My first goal was just to work out 5 minutes a day, 5 times a week. And 5 minutes a day might have not been enough to get me into the best shape of my life, into the physique that I wanted to get in. But that's not what it was about. It was about training myself to build a new identity as a healthy person who enjoys working out and who is committed to exercise, and showing myself that I can follow through. I believe that confidence comes a lot from following through with your word to yourself. When you do what you tell yourself you're going to do, your brain is like, all right, I'm a badass. I could do other things. And then you believe yourself when you make commitments to yourself and you actually take action on them. So you train yourself in small ways. If you're trying to commit yourself to 30 minutes of gym time 5 days a week, and you've never been working out in your life, you're probably going to overwork yourself or intimidate yourself, and you're going to go for a few days and you're going to get super sore, and you're going to wake up on the 4th or 5th day and you're going to be so sore that you're just not going to want to go back the next time. You're going to start making excuses about how you're in pain and you're sore and you need to wait a couple days, and then after a few days you just don't feel like going, and next thing you know, it's been a month and you haven't worked out when you told yourself you're going to do 30 minutes a day. Because maybe you were just setting the bar a little bit too high. And I'm all about dreaming big. It's, like anything is possible, but I'm all about starting small to win big. So 5 minutes a day if you're trying to build a new habit. Or, for example, flossing your teeth. It sounds silly, but if you're trying to build a habit of flossing your teeth, you can start out making the commitment to, I'm going to floss one tooth. Not even my whole mouth. Just one tooth. And chances are you're going to start flossing one tooth and you're going to be like, well, I already got the floss out. It's easy enough to just do the whole mouth now. But if you tell yourself I'm going to floss and do the whole mouth or whatever, it might seem too intimidating or too time consuming compared to what you're used to. So chances are you're going to flake out after a little while. That's why I really believe in starting small on just anything that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to start a YouTube or a podcast or exercise or nutrition or anything. Like, start small. Set the bar really low so you can win, so you can get those early wins and build some confidence with yourself. Because when you follow through with what you tell yourself you're going to do, you just feel like a badass and you want to keep up that momentum. And for me, what happened is I committed to working out 5 minutes a day. And after, I don't know, like maybe a month or so, that turned into like 15 minutes a day. And then before I knew it, after like a year or so, I was working out 30 minutes to an hour a day without even trying. And it got to the point where it was such a habit for me, I actually had to scale it back a little bit and start working out less and give myself a chance to rest and recover more. But it was no longer I kept trying to go to the gym for years before that. I'd say, I'm getting a gym pass. And I made it too complicated. I needed a gym pass, and I needed the right gym clothes, and I needed a water bottle, and I needed the protein shakes. And if you make it that complicated, you're going to procrastinate. It's going to just seem overwhelming, and you're not going to take action on it. But if you just say, hey, I'm just going to work out at my house for 5 minutes a day, it's easy to follow through with that. And over time, you'll just improve and you'll get better. So I'm sure that makes sense to you guys. You can do it in any area of your life. If you're trying to start blogging, for example, it might seem like a lot of work to write an entire blog post, and I gotta go out and shoot photos, and I gotta come up with the right content, and I gotta get the right links, and then I gotta design it, and I gotta make it look nice, and make it easier on yourself. Just say, you know what, I'm gonna blog my favorite quote once a week or once a day or whatever. Just make it something that's going to take you 5 minutes. That's going to be easy for you to follow through and take action on it. And over time, just start ramping it up. After it becomes like a no-brainer, after it becomes like your new autopilot, then you ramp it up. And I'm a really big fan of keeping what I call a success log. If you've watched my YouTube channel, you've probably seen a couple videos about success logs because I'm a big fan of them. And I don't always do it, but I kind of go up and down. I'll do it for a few months, and then when I feel like I don't need to anymore, I'll take a break from it. And then when I feel like I need some more confidence, some more momentum, some more drive, and some more focus in my life, I'll start keeping a success log again. And what the success log is you just keep track of little wins that you have. They could be small, they could be big, it doesn't matter. The point of it is you're training yourself to view yourself as a successful person who takes action and who is getting stuff done. And you're trying to train yourself into viewing, realizing that, hey, you're actually making a lot of progress. Because it's easy for us, especially if you're like a type A, high achiever type person, it's easy to go a couple hours or a couple days where you're kind of off and then feel like you're just completely failing. Keeping a success log reminds you that you're actually doing a lot of good, and it just motivates the shit out of you to keep doing more good. It really inspires me to just what else can I add to this list? How many more wins can I have? How high can I stack this list up? Because it's like a dopamine, serotonin boost every time I add something to this list. So I just keep it on my phone. You can keep it on a sheet of paper. I do that sometimes. Or you can keep it on your computer, whatever works for you. But you're just writing a basic, simple list of all the things that you feel good about doing. So I woke up on time. I drank a gallon of water. I did my gratitude journal. I worked out. I took a cold shower. I left a nice note on someone's car. I picked up some trash off the street. I donated some money to clean water. I made that phone call I was scared to make. I paid that bill on time. I vacuumed my house. I organized my closet. I took the cold shower. I meditated. And you just keep this little list going in your phone every day. And you make a new success log every day, and you just almost try to outdo yourself every day of keeping these. And it's not like anything you're stressed about, or, it's not like a big to-do list or anything. It's just things that you're proud of that you can feel good about. They can be small, they can be massive. But for the longest time, some of the only things on my success log were I meditated today, and I worked out today, and I drank water today, or I intermittent fasted today. And then when I'm really on point, these success logs get ridiculous, beautiful, and I look back at those when I'm feeling down about myself, and I'm like, holy shit, look how much I've actually gotten done in the last couple months, or the last couple weeks. And anytime you kind of need that boost to get you back on track, you can go back and look at these success logs. Sorry, I thought someone was rolling up on my house. I had to check real quick. But anyway, I really recommend keeping a success log on your phone or just in your journal, or even getting a specific journal just for that. There's a lot of successful people that talk about tracking your wins, and whatever you track tends to grow. So if you're counting your money more often, you become more abundant financially. If you're ignoring your money, usually you become more scarce. Usually you come across more financial hardship because you're not paying attention, and bills are slipping past your notice and things like that because you're scared to check it and you're scared to count it. So the more you count something, the more progress you can make on it. And like Tony Robbins says, if you count something once a year, the most you can have is bad years. If you count something once a month, the most you can have is a bad month. And if you count something once a week, the worst you can have is a bad week. If you count something once a day, worst you can have is a bad day. And a lot of the most successful people actually check in with themselves every hour. That's why I set an alarm on my phone to go off every hour throughout the day, and I have different checkpoints. Some of these checkpoints are to remind me, hey, what's one thing you can do right now that you'll be happy about tomorrow? Another are, hey, are you living with a light heart and just remembering not to take life too seriously and remembering to have fun and be joyful and silly and playful? Are you too overwhelmed and worked up, you need to dance and chill? So I have these different alarms that go off on my phone throughout the day to just check in with my frequency. So my frequency can never really be off for more than an hour without me realizing, oh, the alarm goes off, oh, whoops, and it resets me. It's 4:44 right now. I need to check in, whatever the 4:44. It's almost 4:44 right now, so it'll probably go off during this podcast. You guys will get to hear it and experience what it's like for me. But I just started doing that because a lot of successful people that I look up to do things like that, and it really seems to help them, and it seems to have been helping me the last few days big time. So I really recommend that. And then I just started keeping a success log again, and it's been beautiful to it just motivates me to want to do more things, and I want to have a list that I feel good about when I go to bed at night. And it's a good way. It's actually a really good thing to do in your nightly routine. I'm going to do an entire episode on morning routines, and then the next episode is going to be on nightly routines. And a success log is a good part of a nightly routine, so we'll talk about that more on that episode. It'll probably be in the next few episodes coming up. But back to starting small and just keeping it simple. If you've never meditated before, it's going to be difficult for you to try to meditate for an hour a day. You don't feel like you have an hour a day. And Russell Simmons says, if you don't have 30 minutes to meditate, then you need 3 hours. And there's a lot of point to that, because it's anyone that thinks they're too busy to meditate actually needs it the most, because they're caught up in this paradigm of feeling like they constantly need to be doing something and busy in order to have a productive, happy, and fulfilled life, when really a lot of our best ideas are going to come when we get quiet and still. a lot of our biggest healing comes when we quiet down the mind and we're not thinking and doing so much. So meditation is very powerful, but if you've never done it, it seems kind of daunting or overwhelming to try to commit to a 30-minute session. So what I did is I just started small. I downloaded an app called Headspace, and I highly recommend Headspace. I still use Headspace. That would be like 2 or 3 years into my meditation journey. I still use it on the regular because it really does help you learn the basics of meditation and make it so simple and easy. And I started with 3 minutes a day. Just 3 minutes a day. If I sat there for 3 minutes, even if my mind was racing the entire time and I didn't really tap into a deep meditative state at all, but I was just kind of mindful and aware of what was going on for just a brief second, I wrote that down as a success on my success log, and I felt damn good about it. Hey, I meditated, because I wasn't worrying about how good the meditations were. I was worried about building the habit of meditating. So it became autopilot for me. And of course, just like I talked about with exercise, it went from 3 minutes to 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes, and then now I can meditate anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours a day. It just depends on if I have my daughter or not. When I have her, I usually meditate a lot more briefly because as beautiful as it is for my state of mind, like nothing's more beautiful than just being present with her. And it's good for both of us if I take that time out, and she even meditates with me sometimes, but it's easier to go deeply when I'm not worried about anyone else. And I designed my life to have a lot of time, so I don't schedule meetings or anything in the mornings. I don't answer my phone in the morning. My phone stays on Do Not Disturb 100% of the time. And I've really designed my life in a way where I've carved out free space and time for me to be able to meditate. But back in the day when I started meditating, I hadn't carved out that space yet. So 3 minutes was all I could really get. And I would just tell baby's mama or my roommate or whoever, hey, I'm going to go outside for 3 minutes. Do you mind watching Ollie for 5 minutes? And if my daughter was with me, I'd usually have some snacks and a movie for her and, some toys out and whatever. And just excuse myself and go sit outside for 5 minutes or 3 minutes. And that's all it would take. And over time, I just got deeper and deeper because I would feel so refreshed after those 3 minutes. Feel so good about myself for having hey, I tried to meditate. Even if it wasn't very good meditation, I feel like I'm doing something good for my health and my well-being and my mindset and my whole mind, body, and soul. I feel like so many successful people are talking about meditation, and so many people that I look up to and aspire to be like are really heavily into meditation and mindfulness practice. So I just felt good about trying. Didn't even matter how good it was. And that's just how you should take on anything that's new and challenging and overwhelming, and over time you'll ramp it up. There's I can't remember what his name was, I'm trying to think. There's a success coach that I study who basically world-class fitness trainer for celebrities, taking them just to optimal health levels so they can look amazing in their movie roles that they're playing and their photo shoots and their magazines, and so they can just defy aging and look amazing and feel amazing and have this vibrant health and glowing skin. And this person's known for teaching people to obtain this level of health with very minimal dieting and time in the gym, and he mostly works with their mindset. And it's beautiful because he started training people who had never gone to the gym really to the first 3 weeks. All they did was put on their gym clothes. Sorry, I just said P. If you say P in this mic, there's my 444 alarm. Let's see, what does it say? 444, what is your intention for the rest of this beautiful day? What is your intention for this rest of this beautiful day? And it's beautiful for me to check in with myself every day at 444 and just think about it. Okay, I still got at least a few hours of productivity and effective creativity and workflow and love to spread and service I can do left in this beautiful day. So what is my intention? And if I don't know, maybe I need to sit down for a few minutes and just really think about it and get clear on how I'm going to spend the rest of this day so I can mindfully walk into the rest of this time that I have and make the most of it. And it doesn't mean I need to be doing a whole lot. Maybe it's like, hey, you know what? The best thing I could do for the rest of this day is close my laptop and stop working and just go to a movie or go on a hike or just go have fun with some friends. Or maybe it's, hey, I want to record a podcast or I want to film an episode of YouTube while I still have some daylight. Or who knows what it might be, but it's at least important to check in with myself. So every hour I have like a different prompt on my phone, and my 555 one will go off next. But anyway, I got off track a little bit. What was I saying? Oh, sorry for all the P's. I need to get a pop filter for this, or at least turn my head every time I say a word with P's so it doesn't make that annoying sound in the microphone, that popping. But anyway, this trainer would just, for the first 3 weeks for his clients, all they would do was put on their gym clothes. They wouldn't even go to the gym, I don't think. They would just put on their gym clothes, and they would go on a 5-minute walk or something, and they'd do 5 jumping jacks. And then for the next 3 weeks after that, they would show up to the gym, and they would turn on the treadmill, and they'd walk for 5 minutes. And they'd go home, and they'd mark it as a win on their success log or their calendar, and they'd be like, yes, I got X amount of days in working out. And what that does is over time, it builds a new identity. So after 3 months, you're like, I go to the gym every day. And it's just, you believe that because you do. And you're telling people that you're going to the gym. And chances are when you're at the gym and you work out for 5 minutes, you're going to just start working out for a little bit longer. Every time you go, you're going to start to feel like it. But even if you're having an off day where you're just feeling tired and groggy, you can still go there and get that win just by walking for 5 minutes. So he was more training them to build a new identity and a new mindset about who they believe themselves to be. Because Tony Robbins always says, one of the strongest drivers of human nature is to stay congruent with how we define ourselves. It's to stay consistent with who we believe ourselves to be. So if you believe yourself to be a healthy person, you'll do everything in your power to make it to the gym, to eat healthy, to get back on track. If you find yourself, getting a little off track and putting on some extra weight and getting lazy, you'll bounce back because you don't believe, that's not your identity. You believe yourself to be a healthy person, so you'll start working out again and you'll start eating healthy again. Just like if you believe yourself to be an unhealthy person, you might get super motivated. I'm going to go on this diet. I'm going to go to the gym every day. You do it for 2 weeks and you fall off because you believe yourself to be an unhealthy person still. You haven't put in enough time. You haven't created enough small wins to really strengthen and solidify that new identity. So I built an identity as a healthy person originally just by drinking enough water. Every day I drank a gallon of water, and I started viewing myself differently. All of a sudden I didn't want to drink any soda or unhealthy drinks. All of a sudden I wanted to start eating healthier foods. And over time, my diet just got cleaner and cleaner and cleaner and healthier and higher vibe. And then I went all plant-based, and then I upgraded from all plant-based and went all plant-based organic. And, I'm not perfect, but my diet is super high vibe and way beyond, way different than where I was years ago. And I have a lot more room to improve still, but it's just amazing how much change from the small habits, the micro habits. I didn't try to say, I'm going on the keto diet and fall off after 3 weeks. I did it the hard way, the long way, the real way, the right way, because I just changed my lifestyle one small habit at a time. 4 years ago, it was just drinking enough water. Then it was taking a shot of apple cider vinegar every day. Then it was getting my green juice in every day. And then it was like, okay, I'm only eating pizza once a week instead of like whenever I want. And then became like once a month. And like just over time, you know what I'm saying? It just built up and I got healthier and healthier and healthier. And it was never really like this big, challenging, daunting thing. I did the same thing with smoking cigarettes. I am ashamed to admit, that I've struggled with that, but it's real. And I know a lot of people listening to this podcast have probably dealt with that or similar things. And culture really presses us to believe how addicting things are and how hard addiction is. And we live in a paradigm where we're really heavily programmed to believe that these addictions have all this power over us. And so I believed that I was addicted to cigarettes and there wasn't really much I could do about it without a whole bunch of pain and a lot of work and suffering. But it doesn't have to be like that at all. I was just programmed to think that. That was weird. I feel like aliens just interrupted this podcast. It just like made this crazy sound and the mic went out. I don't even know what happened, but that was kind of cool. But anyway, what I was saying is, we're programmed to think that addiction is like just something that we're almost powerless over. And I started to change my paradigm and think, I'm in control. This is actually not that hard. And I started changing my mindset. And first I didn't even focus on quitting cigarettes at all. I just focused on improving my mindset around addiction, around reading stories of people that overcame it and just developing new pathways in my mind of like empowering thoughts and realizing how powerful the mind is. So that was my first focus. And like I said, I tried to quit cigarettes so many times. Like I can't tell you how many times I would have this like I'm done forever moment, and I would rip up my cigarettes and throw them out. Even if I had like a brand new pack, I'd throw it in the garbage and be like, I'm done. And I would try to use willpower. And willpower only gets you so far. Willpower is great until it's not there. And there's going to be moments of weakness where the willpower is just nowhere to be found. No matter how strong you are, I feel like you can only hold out for so long. And if you can hold out long enough to where you just never crave it again, like, wow, that's awesome. But for most of us, we hold out for a few days to a week to a month. I've seen so many friends, because almost everyone I knew was addicted to cigarettes too. That's why who you hang out with is so important. If you're young and you haven't smoked cigarettes, like, don't hang out with cigarette smokers, because I guarantee you'll probably start smoking someday. It's crazy. Like, literally, just if you have friends that smoke, you gotta just distance yourself from them. And it's not because you don't love them. It's because you do love them and you love yourself. And I'm telling you that from someone who smoked for like 10 years, almost. So, it's crazy. You really do become like the people you hang around. Like, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I've seen so many people that I never thought in a million years would ever smoke a cigarette become way more addicted than I ever was, because they were hanging out with me and other people that were doing it. And they'd always come out with us and hang out, and they didn't like that we smoked, but they could be around it. And then eventually they're partying and they're drinking, and they have kind of like a fuck it moment where they just say, let me take a drag. They start taking drags. Next thing you know, they're bumming them off you, and you're like, I don't know, man, I don't want to give you one. And next thing you know, they're buying full-on packs, and they're chain smoking. And it happens like within a few months. And it's something you can overcome. And I believe that I got addicted to through a variety of reasons, but one of them was so I could learn about how addiction kind of works in the brain, at least from my perspective, and use that as a tool to help other people overcome that. So I think, nothing in our life is really good or bad. Nothing's really negative or positive in the universe. It's all about the lens from which we view it. So perspective is reality. and it's all about the meaning we attach to things. So I believe that all the bad stuff that I've ever gone through, or the perceived negative stuff, is actually a blessing. I just put a blessing lens on it of like, oh, this is going to help me be more powerful so I can help provide more value to others and do more good in this world. So I'm not even like, I don't regret it. Sure, I would have been a lot healthier, a lot better off, a lot higher frequency if I never started smoking in the first place, but hey, I learned a lot from it. And how I was basically able to like quit was without even quitting. I heard this crazy quote from this guy who is like 60 something. He's like, the best way to quit smoking is you never quit smoking. And I'm like, huh? And apparently he just like, you just start doing it less and less, and you don't really put this limit on yourself like, oh, I can never smoke again, because the mind kind of wants to rebel against ourselves, especially if it's something that you have so much joy and pleasure associated with. Because if you're smoking, you're doing it to kind of like avoid pain and gain pleasure. That's like what we're doing everything for. And you have somehow associated more pain with not having a cigarette than you have with having it. And it's crazy how we can like choose how we associate pain or pleasure to different things, and we can talk about that deeper on some other episodes. But if you associate a lot of joy with something and you try to just cut yourself off from it forever, you're going to cave in probably. And that willpower is not going to last forever. So it's a lot easier, at least from my experience, to just start building good habits and doing the bad habits less and less. So I focused on healthy eating and working out, and I didn't worry about the cigarettes. But guess what? A cigarette sounds terrible after you're working out. You don't want one at all. After you've been just sweating and you feel so good about yourself, you want to eat a nice salad and a protein shake and fucking crush the rest of the day. You're not really like, I want to go outside Gold's Gym and puff down a fucking Marlboro. Like, it doesn't sound tight. So, and when you start working out and you start being around all these people that are into health and wellness and fitness and nutrition, most of them are not smoking either. So you're around a new crowd of people to hang out with where you're just way less tempted. You're less triggered. Because if you've smoked before, you know, like me, I smoked a lot just because the people I was around were smoking, and I didn't even like necessarily want one myself, but just because they were having one, I'd say fuck it and have one with them too. Because it's like a little social thing. And I find myself smoking 10 times more than I even wanted to, because it was just a social, you know. It's like, oh, my friends are having one and you feel connected to them or something. So when you start focusing on, like, if you're trying to get away from drugs or heroin or cigarettes or something like that, spend more energy trying to surround yourself with people who are not into that stuff in the first place than you're spending on trying to get away from the people who are. I didn't even think about distancing myself from smokers. I just was thinking about surrounding myself with healthy people. And over time, it was just like, it felt weirder and weirder for me to smoke because I'm eating healthy. I'm hanging out with healthy people. We're working out. We're talking about bettering our lives. And it just started resonating with me less and less and less. And I'll be 100% honest with you guys on this podcast. I'm still not like 1,000,000% tobacco free. I still occasionally will take a puff, but I'm pretty much almost there where I don't think, by the end, within the next few months, I'll probably like have not taken a single puff, because it's gotten to the point where it's like now once a week or once every 2 weeks, if I'm out at a show or something, I'll take a drag or two, but I'm not like going out and smoking every day like I used to, and I'm not smoking just by myself for no reason, and eventually get to the point where it just, soon, where I won't smoke, period. But I want to be honest with you guys on that. I'm still working on this myself, so I'm not trying to come to you like I'm some guru, but I know that these words will help, because I got to the point where I was smoking like a pack a day almost, which is like 20 cigarettes a day, which is crazy. I can't believe I got up to that much. And it got to the point where it was down to 5 or 6 a day, and then 3 a day, and then 2 a day, and then one a day, and then one every other day or couple days, and then now where it's like only kind of on the weekends or if I'm out partying or something like that at a show. And even then, it's like I'll maybe go out once and take a few drags, and it even just feels weird every time I do. I'm just like, this does not resonate with everything else I'm doing in my life. I'm eating so healthy, I'm working out, taking cold showers, microdosing, going out in nature, trying to be the best version of myself. Like, it just doesn't even resonate with me. It's just weird, and it's just something I'm still trying to completely let go of. But I've developed so many other high vibrational habits that it just resonates with me less and less. And I don't even feel like it's hard to not smoke at all. It's not like I'm using willpower. I'm not sitting there craving them and feeling like I want one so bad and I just can't have one and I'm just being strong. That's not at all. I just straight up don't even feel like one. I just don't even want one. Because I'm doing all these high vibe things and it just feels weird. It feels weird to work out and hang out with Olivia and record a high vibe podcast and listen to these inspiring mentors and meditate and eat my broccoli and kale and my superfoods and my naked beet chips and my essential oils going on and my houseplants and my crystals and go out and have a cigarette. It just kind of doesn't really resonate with all that stuff as much. You know what I'm saying? So how I got down to the point where it was just barely smoking at all was I started speaking it into existence. I'm a big fan of how you talk, your words become reality. And we'll go way deeper into that on some other episodes with neuro-linguistic programming and subconscious programming and hypnotherapy and a lot of amazing things. But I started talking as if I was smoking less and less. And like I said earlier, one of the strongest drivers of human behavior is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. So I started defining myself as a healthy person, and smoking just felt weird. And I started telling people that I was smoking less. Every time I was hanging out with any friends, I would tell them proudly, yeah, dude, I've been smoking a lot less lately. I've been cutting back hella. It feels so good. I just feel amazing since I've been smoking less. And they'd be like, hell yeah, dude, I'm happy for you. Fuck yeah. Whether they were a heavy smoker or not at all, they would be happy for me. And then I started kind of putting a number to it. When I was probably smoking about 5 or 6 cigarettes a day, I would just tell people that I was down to 3 a day. And then when I was down to 3 a day, I was telling them, dude, I've been cutting back so much. I'm so proud of myself. I've been having 2 a day max, man. And they'd be like, hell yeah, bro. And after weeks of saying that, I just started doing that, and I literally couldn't bring myself to have more than 2 a day and still feel good about myself, because no one likes to be a hypocrite. And my new identity was that I only have 2 a day, and I felt good about that because it was progress. It was better than I had been doing, and it felt good, and I wanted to keep up that good feeling. I didn't want to contradict my words. I didn't want to be a hypocrite. And I also, I kind of felt accountable to all these people that I was telling. So I didn't want to be, if we're being frank, I didn't want to be judged by them. If I tell my buddy I only have 2 a day, and I've already had 2, and he's been around me, I can't bring myself to bring out a 3rd one. Or else I'm going to have to make some excuse and feel weird about myself. So I'm a big firm believer of kind of speaking it into existence and then acting in congruence with the way that you're speaking. So obviously it takes both of the actions, a huge part of it, but you're not going to take the right action if you're still speaking yeah, I'm still smoking a pack a day. You're going to keep smoking a pack a day. So do yourself a favor and speak it in a better light than it really is. Speak it how you want it to be rather than what it is, because you can change at any point in time. Just because you smoked 10 cigarettes yesterday doesn't mean you can't smoke 5 today and start telling people you're down to 5. And it's okay if you slip up to 6 or 7 sometimes. Just go back to 5 and keep trying to tell people you're down to 5, and then you're down to 4, and you can do this with anything. The cigarettes is just an example of how to program yourself. You can do this with any area of your life. Just by, hey, guess what, man? I'm working out like 5 days a week, even though you're only working out 3 days a week. Tell everyone you know you're working out 5 days a week and how amazing it feels. Write it in your journal. I feel amazing now that I'm working out 5 days a week. Write journal entries and scripting about, lately I feel so amazing. I've been eating super healthy. I've been working out 5 days a week, and it just feels amazing to be on top of my health. Over time, you will be working out 5 days a week. That 3 will turn into 4, and it'll turn into 5, and that truth will catch up to what you're speaking real quick. So you can kind of use this to program. It's like a little trick. It's like a little Jedi mind trick you can use. And I really think it's a powerful technique that's helped me get to the point where I'm not even really, I'm going to start telling people I don't even smoke anymore, and then I'll really be accountable, And you can tell there's a little bit of fear in my voices as I say that, scared to fully let it go. And I'm glad that I can be authentic and honest with you and know that we all have our own struggles and vices, and none of you guys are trying to judge me because you're not expecting me to be perfect. I'm just sharing my truth with you, and you can take anything that resonates with you. And if you use any bit of this to improve your life, then it's worth my time to record this. And it's worth my time to record this regardless, because it feels good to express myself. And it honestly kind of feels like a weight off my shoulder that I just even admitted the whole smoking thing to my audience, because I haven't really talked about that to a lot of you guys. Like, if you follow me from another state and you've never been friends with me in real life, never seen me smoke, you may never known that I ever smoked at all. And you might even be shocked to hear that. But that's my story and that's my truth, and I'm not even ashamed of it. I can own it because I'm 100% responsible for every area of my life, and I'm a constant work in progress. I don't expect myself to be perfect. I don't expect myself to have it all figured out. I just expect myself to do the very best I can and keep consistently working to improve myself. And sometimes I just need to take baby steps and start really small. Okay, that was weird. The weird alien thing just happened with my podcast again. I think they're trying to channel through us and share some ancient wisdom from the cosmos and beyond. So, one of these days we'll let them come through. But like I was saying, like I started out this podcast with, you got to be willing to start small to win big. Don't downplay 5 minutes of exercise. Don't downplay 3 minutes of meditation. Don't downplay cutting back 1 a day on cigarettes. Don't downplay any of these micro wins. You should actually celebrate them. Throw yourself a party. If you went the entire week where you stuck through with only having 5 cigarettes a day instead of 7 like you were, it might not seem like that big of a thing, but I promise you, if you celebrate it, your brain will feel so good about it. You will develop new neural pathways that will trigger you to keep taking more positive action in the right direction. I promise it works. It's brain science beyond what I can intelligently explain, but I'm sure the truth vibrating out of my heart is something that you can resonate with, and I'm sure that you can attest to this in your own journey throughout different aspects of your life, because we're all really the same. We're all going through the same type of things in different ways, and that's why I feel like I'm even qualified to help anyone, because I've been through so many ups and downs, and I don't get to have a podcast where I help people, and I don't get to have a coaching business where I provide massive value and help people have huge breakthroughs in their lives because I'm perfect and because I have it all figured out and because I was just born with the answers. I have the privilege of doing that because I've been through hell and back. I've been through the ups and downs. I've paid the dummy taxes. I've put in the fails and the stumbles and the hardships so I can use that wisdom to help you, because I always reflect on my own journey and just realize how other people can take what I've learned and it can save them a lot of time, a lot of hardship, a lot of pain and suffering. And I know a lot of other people that I listen to on their podcasts have done that for me. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing this information, especially in this format. Like, audio is so fun for me. I should be doing video because your boy looks fresh right now. But I like just doing the audio. I got my essential oils bumping. I got a candle burning. I got my favorite kombucha. I got some dark chocolate. I got some good vibes. I got some crystals around me, some plants around me. I'm feeling good. And I like to spread some positive energy. And I'll be honest, I almost didn't record this podcast because I was overthinking it for a second and thinking, oh, I have to have some big, long, planned out episode and I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And then I decided to play small for a big win, and it turned into an incredible episode, I feel like. And I told myself at the beginning of this episode, okay, this will be simple. I have this one little idea about playing small. It might only be a 5 or 10 minute episode, but I don't care about the quality of the episode. I care about building the habit of recording a podcast every week. Because I told myself I would. And I'm going to stick to my words so I can keep building confidence. I can let the podcast improve over time. It doesn't have to be perfect right now. I don't have to have it all figured out now. All I have to do is be committed to taking the action and jumping in. Even when I'm scared and don't know what I'm doing, I jump in and I take action. And I'm like, hey, I'm just going to record even if it's a 5-minute episode. I'm going to hop on there and just talk for 5 minutes. Even if I don't even release it, I'm going to at least do what I said I'm going to do by recording an episode. And then, hey, it turned into we've been recording for 46 minutes already. And it's just flown by. And I feel like I've said some things that can really provide value to a lot of people. I've opened up about some things which heals me. Every time I open up about some things, I feel like I'm hiding nothing now. There's nothing I haven't shared on my social media and my podcast and my YouTube. I love being transparent. When you have nothing to hide, you can just be yourself. And I have family that follows me and listens to this. I have friends and I have all sorts of strangers all over the world, and I'm just exposing the realest, most authentic parts of myself. I showed my stomach on Instagram for the first time the other day, and it was so freeing. No one judged me. People gave me props for it, and I'm actually looking hella good now. But I mainly did it because I was scared of it for years, and I was just like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm working on trying to build a 6-pack. This is where I'm at right now. Follow me on my journey. I'm far from it right now, but I'm not, I'm still beautiful, and I'm honoring and respecting where I'm at right now, and I'm not afraid to just own my authentic truth and just let my light be my light without judging it. So it feels good for me to just come on this podcast and talk about things that I've been scared to talk about, and at least, do what I can to try and make the world a better place through my words, because all of us are underestimating the power of our words. Our words can change people's lives so much more than we know. Every time I make a video or an Instagram rant or a podcast, people thank me, telling me what an impact I'm making on their life, saying that I said the right thing at the right time and they just needed to hear that. I keep seeing my lucky numbers so many times as I'm recording this podcast. Such a confirmation that we're in alignment, on path right now. But yeah, people always thank me every time I share my thoughts, and I'm honest, I'm just a dude trying to figure it out. I don't have all the answers, but people always say that I'm helping them out in profound ways, and it means the world to me that you invest your time to listen to this, because you can never get your time back. You can make more money, but your time is not necessarily a renewable resource, so I honor your time. I respect your time, and I always want to do the best I can to provide real value that's actually going to help you have a better life and do more than just entertain you, but make you think more positively, maybe. Help you have some breakthroughs, help you just see things in a more beautiful perspective. That's what I'm here for. I believe that's why I'm here on this earth, is to help enrich and uplift and inspire people with my words. whether it's through music or a podcast or books or whatever platforms and vehicles I choose to do it through, doesn't necessarily matter. It just feels like that's my calling, and I appreciate that you guys are listening. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for all the love that you're showing me. Definitely screenshot this episode and share it on your Instagram stories so I can see who's tuning in and share that on my story as well. It definitely helps grow the podcast and kind of gives me social proof showing that other people are appreciating this content and it's helping them, and then it inspires them to check it out too. So if you're getting any value from my words, I would really appreciate it if you just take a few seconds to share it, or text the link out to someone, or leave a review, or just do one type of small action that helps this message spread, because I do believe this is a valuable message, and I want to continue growing our community, growing this audience, not for my personal gain, not just so I can make money, not just so I can get rich and famous. And if those things become a byproduct of the value that I'm providing, then I will welcome that with open arms. But my intention first and foremost is to actually make the world a better place through my words. And I want to inspire you to not underestimate the power and the value of your words and your smile and your personality and your perspective. Because all of us are really like the same, but we also have our own unique, valuable perspectives to bring to the table that can really help others. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. That is all for today's episode. I really, really appreciate you listening. For real, it means the world. Definitely share this out with your fam. And hit me up on social media if you have anything that you want me to talk about. If you have any questions, I'm going to start having a little segment either at the beginning or the end of the podcast where I answer listeners' questions. And I just decided that on the spot right now. That's how a lot of my creativity happens. I get into a flow state and then just burst out with something. Okay, we're doing this now. And then I do it and it's awesome. So that's how a lot of my best ideas actually happen. They're not really all planned out and that thought out. And that's another good lesson. A lot of the people that we think have it all figured out are kind of just winging it. And sometimes when you're in alignment and you're in the right state, you can just wing it and beautiful things happen. So from now on, I'll be doing a little segment where we answer listener questions. So definitely send me some questions. You can go to burnellwashburn.com/podcast. You can email me at burnellwashburn.com. Or the best way is probably just DM me on Instagram. Just shoot me a little message on IG and saying, hey, I'd be stoked if you briefly talked about this in one of the episodes of the podcast. And I will do my best to fit you in on a future episode. Peace and blessings. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening again. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And we'll catch you on episode 3 next time. Bless.
Now, please to close your eyes. Just let yourself go and completely relax. Now, I'm going to play you some music. Just to make you forget all your troubles.
It's a vibe, I've been feeling so alive. No more going overdrive, I'm just doing what feel right to me. You said you're surviving, now I'm riding, I can thrive. Got a precious Gemini, and she's shining like a bright ruby. It's a vibe, I've been feeling so inspired. No more going overdrive, I'm just doing what feel right to me. You said you're surviving, now I'm riding, I can thrive. Got a precious Gemini, and she's shining like a bright ruby. Ay.